Congress get anything done? And what about the war in Iraq?
Joining us now for today's strategy session are Democratic strategist Donna Brazile and Terry Jeffrey, editor of Human Events. I want to start off with you, Terry. First of all, a quote from Senator Jack Reed. This is about Bush, the Iraq policy. He says, look, I don't think President Bush has given up the sort of sloganizing and simplistic view of what's happening there. I think the American people's message was deep concern about Iraq, deep skepticism about his policies, and what they want is a resolution of Iraq. Are we just hearing the same old rhetoric from the president, and what are we going to think in 2 weeks here?
Well, I think we're hearing the same rhetoric from Senator Reed, but I think it's pretty obvious that since the election, the president has been carefully reconsidering his strategy in Iraq. He's gotten input from everybody from outgoing Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld to the Iraq Study Group, to Democratic members of the Congress, to his new Defense Secretary Robert Gates, who's been over to Iraq and back. I think what the president's going to come out with is going to be his best considered policy. I think it's going to be sincere, and I think that Senator Reed and other Democrats in Congress better be ready to support it if it's realistic.
But you know what we're seeing here, Terry, and what we're listening to is the president's language. It seems as if he's talking about bipartisanship, that he's reframing the debate, and he's not talking about changes in Iraq policy.
Well, I think there are going to be serious changes in Iraq policy. I don't think there's any question about that. What exact form they're going to take, we're not going to know until the president comes out and lays them out for us.
Donna, do you think the pressure is building on the president? What are you expecting to hear from him?
Absolutely. Look, Senator Reed has been over to Iraq on numerous occasions. He's come back. He's written to the president. He said to the president, like many other Democrats and many Republicans, that it's time for a new direction. We don't know what the president's planning. We hear all of these options. They're floating so many trial balloons. But at the end of the day, what Democrats will hold this president to, and what the Republicans should have, is a game plan for victory so that we can bring our troops home in 2007.
I want to ask you, Donna, there was a column written by Dick Pullman in the Philadelphia Inquirer Sunday where he said, quote, the Democrats' biggest challenge as they prepare to take power on Capitol Hill is to eradicate the wimp label that, fairly or not, has dogged them since the 70s. They have to show they can protect us better than the GOP. So there's pressure on you as well to prove you're not a wimp.
Well, look, first of all, I don't know of too many wimps in the Democratic Party, but be it as it may, I think what Democrats have to prove to the American people is that we have a strategy, that the president has carefully considered all of these different options, and we finally have a game plan to bring our troops home, to successfully turn the Army and the military forces to the Iraqis, and to begin the reconstruction effort. We also need political reconciliation, and I think if Democrats help the president come up with a strategy, the country will be better off.
I don't know too many people who accuse Donna of being a wimp, I'll tell you that. But very interesting. A diva, but I'll take that. Now, very interesting numbers here coming from the battleground key state, of course, Iowa, the last two elections here. Taking a look at these polls here, first, Senator Hillary Clinton losing to John McCain here. We've got McCain 43% with this general election matchup to Clinton's 37%. And then you take a look at the next number here. This is Senator Obama, who's beating McCain here. Obama with 42%, McCain with 39%. So, Terry, to you, I mean, who's the candidate who the Republicans are most concerned about, who they need to beat? Is it Obama, is it Hillary, or is it somebody who we don't even know yet?
Quite frankly, I think both Hillary and Obama have the problem of being too far left for middle America. Barack Obama's been able to win in Illinois, which is the most liberal Midwest state, but Iowa's a swing state. It went for Gore in 2000, came back to Bush for 2004. It's a very narrowly divided state. The fact that Hillary Clinton is trailing in your poll among Democrats in the Iowa caucus, I think, is very bad news for Hillary. But if Democrats think Obama can actually be the candidate who can reach into the red states and win in the South and Midwest for Democrats, I think they're mistaken.
Let me jump in there because the poll you're citing there, another part of this poll does have Senator John Edwards on the Democratic side at 22%, Obama at 22%, Vilsack at 12%, the outgoing, former governor of Iowa, and then Senator Hillary Clinton at 10%. She's fourth. I want to point out in the New Hampshire poll, she's slightly leading Obama, however. But, Donna, isn't this something that Senator Clinton has to pay attention to? I know it's early, it's a couple of years out, but Obama is gaining and he's rising.
Well, first of all, let's assume that John Edwards gets into the race this week. He's leading currently among many of the polls that have been taken in Iowa. I still believe that this race is so early. Barack Obama and Hillary, they have received so much free press over the last couple of months, cover stories and Time and Newsweek. I'm not surprised that they're doing quite well. But let's not rule out some of the asterisks, and I'm referring to the Joe Biden, the Dodds, the Clarks, and many of the other interesting individuals who will also seek the nomination.
But you know what, the trick for the Democrats is to get someone who's liberal enough to win the Democratic nomination, but not so liberal that they can't win southern and midwestern states. And the candidates that look like they had a potential of doing that, Evan Bayh from Indiana, Mark Warner from Virginia, they're already out of the race. So I think the Democrats don't look as strong right now as they might have for 2008.
Point, Donna. How do you, from a strategy perspective, some of the centrist Democrats are getting out of this race. It looks like it's tilting to the left, number one. And number two, from a strategy standpoint, we know Senator Obama's in Hawaii vacationing, thinking about getting in. What would you advise him from a strategy standpoint to convert this sort of rock star fame into actual on-the-ground campaigning?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't rule out Hillary Clinton as a centrist because she is a centrist. She is somebody that has shown during her years in the Senate that she can work with Republicans, sponsored many pieces of legislation that actually got through the Senate with people like Lindsey Graham. They're not liberals. So I do believe that we will have not just liberals, but conservatives and moderate Democrats who will be able to appeal to Southerners, Midwesterners, and, of course, those individuals in the West right now where Democrats are making a lot of...
What about Obama? What does he need to do while he's in Hawaii? What does he need to be thinking about? What does he need to do?
Well, first of all, I would hope that with Michelle at his side, he makes this decision that he can actually spend some time away from his family. This is a very tough, grueling decision. It's a marathon. He has 2 small children. He's very concerned about the amount of time he'll be spending away from them. He also must be concerned about the amount of time, as Evan Bayh, that he will be spending away from the United States Senate. But clearly, Barack Obama is someone that should not be ruled out just because he is from the state where Lincoln hails from.
Apart from his far-left record, particularly in the Illinois legislature, which people aren't familiar with yet, Obama needs to establish himself as who can be a credible commander-in-chief, who can run the United States of America in a war on terror. We have problems in Iraq. He hasn't done that yet. He needs to find a way to convince Americans he can.
Well, I'm sure during the primary process he'll be rounded out, and you'll get a chance to hear his experience in foreign affairs and some other national issues that he hasn't had an opportunity to talk about.
Terry, quick question for you. We'll probably ask Reverend Al Sharpton this question as well, but clearly Al Sharpton was the last person who was perhaps a serious African-American candidate in the presidential race. What do you think about Barack Obama? Do you think the country is ready for a black president?
You know, I frankly think that the majority of Americans aren't just ready for a black president. They would positively like to see one. I think Barack's real handicap is that he is to the left of the American people. I think that a conservative Republican African-American would have a better chance of being elected a president than a liberal Democrat as the first black president.
Got a name?
I think the American people are hungry. They are hungry for a candidate. And Condoleezza Rice last week said, America's ready. The polls suggest America's ready. If Barack is ready to run, I believe he will get tremendous support from blacks as well as whites.
Thank you very much, Terry Jeffrey. Donna Brazile, and for the record, no, I didn't say you're a wimp.
No.
I don't want to get in trouble with you.
And Al Sharpton will still have the best hairstyle now that James Brown is no longer with us.
All right, thank you both very much. Up next, the countdown begins to Saddam Hussein's execution.